what we do here is go back.
The other day we saw Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Connor, give us the plot of The Last Jedi. Spoiler warning, we never hold back.
We do never hold back when it comes to spoilers. Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't know how in depth should I actually go with this. Should I just break it down all the fucking way? You would say that, not make me do the plot.
Okay, I can do the plot.
I got this. Star Wars The Last Jedi starts out with the entire Resistance and a series of ships flying through space when they're apprehended by the Empire. Ace pilot Poe Dameron goes out quipping. He tries to bomb the ships. Basically all their bombers get fucked over. And then the ship is basically forced to just stay out of range of the Empire's big guns and try to survive until it runs out, and slowly their ships get destroyed. Meanwhile, Rey makes it to Luke, and Luke throws the lightsaber. There's a dramatic scene, it picks up from there, and then Luke just grabs the lightsaber and throws over the cliff. And he's a grumpy ass old man, but eventually Rey starts getting trained by Luke. Meanwhile, Snoke is connecting Rey and Kylo Ren to the Force, and they're talking about and kind of trying to tempt Rey to join the dark side or whatever. And then eventually Finn meets Rose. Finn's back to normal. Rose is an Asian girl from my favorite website, BuzzFeed. Wait, is she from BuzzFeed? No, College
She
Humor.
does BuzzFeed stuff too, but she's from
Freelance. Freelance is at my favorite website, BuzzFeed. College Humor. I love them. Favorite actress ever. Rose and Finn team up and they try to save the Resistance. They go to Casino Planet.
And
They meet up with Benicio del Toro. That was cringy. I did it one too many times. Benicio del Toro, who's probably the most annoying character in Star Wars ever, except Elton John the Hutt. And then they end up fighting. It goes blah blah blah. They get captured. Meet up with Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma gets fucking killed. And then meanwhile, Rey gets captured by Kylo because she shoots out into space in the space coffin and lands on the spacecraft.
She just turned herself
And
in.
then Kylo Ren goes up to Rey. She's getting beat down by Snoke. Kylo goes up to Rey with a lightsaber and says, "I am about to kill you with my lightsaber. By erecting my lightsaber blade, I will kill the person that I must kill with this very lightsaber." And then you see like the fucking the lightsaber turns and kills Snoke. Snoke gets killed. We find out Rey's parents are random people from
How do you think
not
they're gonna
Tatooine,
retcon?
Jakku. That's what I was looking for.
Do you think Snoke's gonna be a Force ghost?
Evil Force Ghost. That's
That's the only thing I could possibly think of.
Well, never mind. But we'll talk about this in a minute. But anyways, moving on. Snoke's fucking dead, and then all the spaceships shoot out, and then oh yeah, there was Pink Hair Lady. Forgot about Pink Hair Lady, the Star Wars character that was probably the least likable. I would call her the Kathleen Kennedy self-insert. She Allah Akbar's like 70 spaceships. I like how the three least likable characters in Star Wars shine like four least likable characters in Star Wars. The four that are more unlikable than Jar Jar. I can name the four of them once I get to my thoughts. Or I'll name them right now. BB-8, Rose, Benicio del Toro. Are you kidding me? BB-8 killed Captain Phasma.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
BB-8's a fucking killer in this
and
shit.
he knocked someone out.
Who cares about R2? market research says kids like buying the BB-8 toy better, so R2 can sit as a dusty pile of shit. But anyways, and then the pink hair lady. Pink hair lady, Allah Akbar's the thing, and they have enough time to get down to Kuwait. And then Finn's about to be mad heroic and stop the super weapon when Rose comes out of nowhere. Oh, they're in like these rusty ass like little space speeders. And then all of a sudden, right before he can straight 9/11 the weapon, Rose comes out of nowhere and smacks into his spaceship. Then Rose is like, I love you. I know, technically if I drive a speeder 150 miles per hour into your speeder, we'd both die. So that made no fucking sense. Then the super weapon's gonna go off and kill everybody. But regardless, whatever, The movie doesn't make any sense anyway, so fuck it. And then Luke Skywalker does the hologram jutsu and gets in a Naruto fight with fucking Kylo Ren. I forgot to mention that.
And then everyone else
Leia flies through
Pokemon
space.
into the cave.
Yeah, and then the Pokemon guide him through the cave, and then Rey shows up to finally do something for once in this movie. She lifts up a bunch of rocks, and they hop in the Millennium Falcon. It's like, well, I guess this is the Resistance now. Then the shot pans over and shows every single character in Star Wars I don't like. Like, seriously, if Jar Jar Binks was on that spaceship, it would have every single... And Kid Anakin. Kid Anakin and Jar Jar Binks were the only two missing to have the least likable character in Star Wars. And it's like, wow, I'm so excited for Star Wars' future. And I was fucking amazed because I could not be less excited for any movie than Star Wars Episode 9. Like, just Justice League Episode 2 sounds magnificent right now compared to Episode 9. What? I love the dish. I love the dish that Rian Johnson served us. It was a fantastico movie. Almost as good as Rogue One. Fantastic. Almost as good as Rogue One.
Almost as good as Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, well. Aiden, what do you think of this movie?
It's fucking terrible.
This 2-hour toy commercial.
Fucking terrible. God. I didn't think I'd say it this soon about a numbered Star Wars movie. Rogue One was fucking terrible. But Rogue One was a crappy spin-off, and I pretended it didn't exist, and it stopped bothering me.
What we do here
This
is
movie
go back.
has a number in it. It's number 8. It's a sequel to number 7. And it's fucking horrible. It's a horrible movie. Like, it's not incompetently made.
Well.
Like, the shooting... And the shooting isn't.
Let's say that 1/3
Okay.
of the movie subplot.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not talking about the writing. I'm talking about the fucking shooting.
Cinematography,
The directing.
alone, yes, it looked quite good.
Most of the acting, fairly competent. It wasn't like Attack of the Clones where it was horrible, ugly, terrible, green screen and CGI and the worst acting imaginable. But the plot and the characters and the dialogue were fucking terrible nonsense. Luke's character was destroyed. Luke went from being like a naive kid who grows up into a strong, heroic warrior to being a fucking child-murdering pussy who cries all day.
He definitely got
Rey's
that
an
from his
even
father.
bigger Mary Sue than before. They bring back Yoda and he looks like shit, and then Yoda's
Yoda.
Force Ghost can shoot lightning from the sky, and he burns down a Jedi temple because Rey is such a Mary Sue that the books are meaningless. And
Well, you also got to keep in mind that the Force rules were bent to the point of non-existence in this movie.
yeah,
Like how Leia turns into fucking Superman
Leia-
and flies through
Leia
space.
flies around like Superman in space. Rey and Kylo can talk to each other from unlimited distance, but nobody has ever used this power before, even though it'd be the most useful thing in the fucking world. Luke can make a hologram of himself that appears anywhere in the universe, and he gets in a Naruto battle with Kylo Ren to distract him, and then he says, "Nothing personnel, kid," and he teleports away with his fucking Naruto jutsu.
Well, then you got to keep in mind that immediately after.
And then he fucking dies! They ruin his character and then they kill him. Han Solo's
Kylo
dead.
Just kill him.
C-3PO does nothing.
Luke
Leia is
Skywalker
Superman.
is dead.
R2D2 appears for about 4 seconds. C3PO appears for about 2.5
Well,
seconds.
is R2 gotten down again? I can't remember. Or
No,
was he just like
he plays the hologram and then he just stops appearing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that shit. Oh, that's so fucking.
Snoke dies! When Snoke died, I don't think I've ever been angrier at a movie. I was so baffled. The idea is so baffling. The theater was silent, and Snoke gets cut in half, and I threw up my hands, and I said, what the fuck? I just went, what the fuck? As loud as I could. I could not believe what I was seeing. No backstory, no explanation. No,
Yeah, it does bring up the
we
question.
literally don't know who
Snoke.
Snoke is. They spent episode 7 setting him up like he was going to be important.
The entirety of episode
And
8
they had
up to
all
that
these
point
interviews.
shows that he's so
J.J.
fucking
Abrams,
powerful.
J.J. Abrams was like, he's stronger than Emperor Palpatine. He's so old. He's so
He's a trillion years old.
the rebels did something to him to make him look horribly deformed, and we're gonna find out his backstory. His backstory, he has like 3 lines in movies, like, I'm really evil, and you should tell me your secrets.
and
then he fucking dies! And it's not even cool! He doesn't do anything, he gets cut in half by a lightsaber on a table next to him.
he just didn't notice
and he's
that
just
it was
dead!
going.
He's gone! He's dead! He's out! They didn't explain shit! They didn't say who he was! We don't even have an idea! We don't even have an idea! Palpatine, we had a better idea. Palpatine only appears in the last movie in person. He's a hologram for 4 seconds in the first... He's mentioned in the first movie. A hologram for 4 seconds in episode 5. And dies in episode 6, and we know more about him because he had dialogue that made sense. And then they went back and they filled in more, but even his title said more. His title of the Emperor implies that he's the fucking Emperor of the universe. Snoke is literally just Snake,
Well,
but they changed one letter.
Can I mention one
They
thing?
changed
Can
one
I annotate
letter.
this real quick? We do know one thing about Snoke. Similarly to Jabba the Hutt, he was so good at space stocks that he was able to create the Star Killer base in about... Well, God, I mean, by the time he had the money to build the Star Killer base, because granted he was doing years of space stocks, he invested in space Bitcoin, went up just monumentally, he was able to get the Star Killer base done in like 2 years. And have a whole fucking army outfitted. And somehow force them to join his army, even though the Empire fell.
And of course, this
I
movie,
applaud Space Snoke, because Space Snoke was really good at selling space bitcoins.
This movie was fucking full of quips. Every fucking scene.
Oh,
Anytime
yeah.
something dramatic happened, you could not have a fucking break. Every scene, 15
It was like
quips.
Luke
Quip,
Skywalker
quip. Luke is the
disappears, the
quip master,
cloak
Yoda's
flies
the
off,
quip
and then Poe's like, who talks first? I talk first, you talk first.
Every scene, the worst in the quip category being the first scene where Poe's like, I fucked your mom, General Hooks.
Hey, General Hux, I saw you have a small dick.
Oh no. Let's not forget the fact that BB-8 hacks into an AT-AT and then the top falls off and it's BB-8 running around like a transformer and stepping on stormtroopers, and then he kills Captain Phasma. She doesn't do anything a second time. They brought her back.
She got
and
Boba Fett,
fucking
bro.
dies. She got worse than Boba Fett. She died twice in stupider ways. This was even stupider than her going in the trash
Dude,
compactor.
you know what's hilarious? In every movie, there's always that B villain. In every trilogy, there has been that B villain that they set up to be all fucking that, and then he's nothing. Boba Fett in the original gets murked. They try to make him look all cool in the stupid ass way. Jango Fett shows up for 30 minutes, then just gets his head cut off.
And Darth
I'm
Maul.
talking B villains, right?
Darth Maul.
Well, I mean, he's the main villain of Phantom Menace. I mean, other than the Emperor, I guess.
I
But
guess.
the Emperor's not really the villain until Episode 3 and Episode
I
6.
suppose.
But I'm talking the B-villain character that comes around with a blaster and kind of just plays bitch, but still is like supposed to be cool. And Captain Phasma. There's no explanation on how she survived, but they brought her back because she's supposed to be so badass. And then they kill her after approximately 35 seconds of screen time. She couldn't have been on screen for more than a minute. So why not just leave her dead? She couldn't have been on screen for more than 60 seconds. Okay, if someone's going to comment, it's like 85 seconds, but still. It could not be more than 5 minutes. And she did nothing.
Yeah.
She did absolutely nothing.
She was worthless. The only
God
things,
damn this movie.
the only things I
So
really did
bad.
like, and there was that one thing this is another thing I didn't like, where they broke the rules of Star Wars by having purple hair lady. She went into hyperspeed.
Oh my god.
And
Quit
she
bitching.
blasted
This
through,
is
like-
stupider than the movie. This stupid fan theory you have.
It's not a fucking fan theory. Besides the fact that they just ripped off Legend of the Galactic Heroes and other anime and made it. She like warped through like 70 ships and blew them all up, which is the most retarded shit ever.
Well,
But it literally doesn't make sense why anyone would ever spend money on ships ever. Why would you build a Death Star when you could literally take... When you move at the speed of light, you create infinite mass because all the mass is compressed in the same place. You could literally take a fucking tomato, attach a hyperspace drive to it, and launch it into a planet, and that planet would be fucking decimated. So it doesn't make any fucking sense why no one in the entire world would fucking... Why wouldn't the Empire just build fleets of ships with hyperspace drives, which would cost way less than a Death Star, and just have a droid pilot it straight into the center of anything? Or why wouldn't the Rebels just hyperspace into the fucking Death Star and destroy it? It's the most retarded thing that happens in the movie on every level, and it creates so many plot holes that I can't
it's
believe it.
the most retarded thing.
Okay, no, Super Leia is the most retarded. It's the second most
It
retarded.
is the most retarded. It's this top 5 most retarded things. Because I
Yes.
can think of several things right now. That is something we call a plot device. It's something you do when
Terrible
you're
plot
lazy
device.
and there's no... Well, what were they gonna do?
Have the ship get in between the bullets and the smaller ships. Literally, all she had to do was just park the ship.
They wanted
in the
to
way
do
of
a
bullets.
cool scene.
And it was stupid. It doesn't
It
make
was
any
stupid.
fucking sense.
Well, it actually makes logical sense.
it does
That's
not.
what would happen in real life. If I was to shoot a massive-ass spaceship at the
In
speed
Rogue
of
One,
light,
all those ships
hyperspeed-
tried to escape, and one of them crashed straight into the Star Destroyer and exploded. They
Okay,
can't
fine.
even be consistent
They
within
break
the
their
Disney
own
movies.
rules, but you're saying this is even in the top 5 retarded things.
Yes.
Finn and Rose's story was set up and had absolutely no relevance in the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's an hour of my life fucking wasted.
Yeah.
That is more retarded.
This scene is more...
Snoke getting killed in 2 seconds.
That's more
That's
retarded.
fucking retarded.
That's more retarded.
Rey's parents. They set it up as some important
I
thing.
don't care.
Daisy Ridley said like 1,000 times that you obviously know who the parents are. Obviously, they were the junk smugglers, and she's a Mary Sue. She's so fucking powerful that without any training, she was that fucking powerful in episode 7? Really?
Yeah.
She's
Well,
better than Darth Vader and Anakin
even
and
more
Palpatine and
powerful
Snoke
than
and Kylo Ren combined.
In episode 5, Luke...
She's so overpowered
In
for no
episode-
reason.
in episode-
And then there's the little Annie Orphan is
In
mowing the fucking lawn with his force powers, dude.
Oh my god! I
R2-D2
forgot about
doesn't
this.
show up in the entire movie.
forgot about
BB-8 takes over an AT-ST. And you're
forgot.
saying the fact that they
I
made a
forgot
stupid-ass
about
plot
the broom.
device is even in the top 5
about the
stupid
broom.
things in this movie.
The broom was
I can
so
name
dumb.
more. When
The broom
fucking
was-
Rey Leia flies through space.
Um,
Jesus Christ.
And the broom... The
Porgs.
The
dude.
broom
Well,
kid was
okay,
so
the Porgs were just merchandise.
They were just merchandise.
They were just
They appeared like
merchandise.
2 minutes.
I thought they were gonna be the Ewoks, but they were literally just merchandise.
I was
they appeared
expecting...
for like maybe a
I
minute.
honestly believed in my heart that we would see a scene where Rey got trapped in a cage and there'd be like a porg and she'd be like, press the button! Press the button!
And the Porg would be like, banana!
Boop, boop, banana!
This movie had an amazing amount of retarded shit. This is
Yes.
probably the most retarded Star Wars. I forgot about the Naruto fight scene, which was pretty fucking retarded as well. Speaking of retarded shit, like I can just go on. Pink Lady comes out of nowhere and says, I am the captain now. And then
Why
we're
didn't
supposed
she
to
just
care
tell
about
Poe
her?
the plan?
Why are we supposed to care about
If she
her?
told Poe the plan, then the Finn and Rose thing never would have happened. She never...
Well,
the plan
Finn-
would have worked if she told him.
They literally
If she said,
just
"Don't
added
do
that
anything
because they're like,
stupid."
what can we do with Finn? And it's like, nothing. There's nothing we can do.
Kill
There
him.
was nothing to do.
Kill Leia. Don't kill Luke.
Well, kill Leia.
Don't do the Super Leia thing. Kill Luke.
Well, the
Why did
problem
Admiral
is
Akbar
not-
die? He was in the movie for like 3 seconds and they killed him, but they wouldn't kill Leia.
Yeah. Well, now they have no choice but to figure out how to write her out.
Why didn't they just have the purple hair bitch be Admiral Akbar so at least people would kind of care?
That's what I was kind of thinking too. Like, at least make it someone, or make it Leia. Better yet, Because then Leia dies heroically. Yeah. Carrie Fisher died in real life. Cut the purple hair bitch out because, here, we get introduced to purple hair bitch. We don't like her. She's made to not be liked. Or we're supposed to like her because she's a woman. I don't fucking know why we're supposed to like this character because she's a fucking cunt. And she's not working with the plot of the story. And then she says, you know, she talks to Leia like this character's been in all the fucking movies. She's like, Leia, this Poe guy, he's our next generation. I haven't had 10 minutes of screen time in the entire Star Wars saga. And then Leia's like, you're a real hero, you know that? I know you've spent the entire movie being a massive cunt, and I know I magically flew through space like Superman, but I love you, and we're good friends. And then she like pats her on the shoulder, and she's Allah Akbars it, and all of a sudden we're supposed to care about this character? Why was she even in the movie? They killed off Admiral Akbar, like Aiden said. What if Admiral Akbar's like, there's only one way we can do it, Leia? And then he turns the ship around, and then he can make his own quip, be like, take this trap, or something like that, because, you know, they wanted to throw a quip in every 5 seconds. Kathleen Kennedy's rule of thumb. She's like, I saw those Marvel movies, and they're really funny, so put a funny quip in every 2 seconds. Otherwise, the movie won't be very funny.
Very small handful of things I liked. I liked the first scene with the bombers. I thought that was kind of cool. Besides Poe's really cringy quipping.
I fucked your mom. Holy shit, like 6 people just died. That looks like a lot.
The scene immediately after...
Better get those space coffins ready.
The scene immediately after Snoke died, where Rey and Kylo team up and they fight the red guys, that was kind of cool. But everything else in the movie was pretty much horrible garbage. And the moment I gave up on the movie was when Snoke died, but it was a long downhill flight from when Leia Supermaned around. And
I think once she's Superman...
Connor hit me up with that. My head, dude.
Shut up right now. No, this movie was fucking horrible. I don't think... I mean, how else would I call it? This movie was like... Okay, Episode 7 was good. Episode 7 no longer has any relevance to the Star Wars saga, because all that got thrown out the window with this movie, for one. I mean, Luke throws away the lightsaber, there's no payoff to the conclusion.
Oh, that was horrible.
Snoke is not even a character. He shows up for a quarter of a minute in the Star Wars Episode 7, then shows up in this, and then he dies. Rey has no character in this movie and does nothing except say, I want to become a Jedi. And then she is supposed to fight the temptation of the dark side or something, but we never really see that. And then Kylo could have killed his other mom, or his mom. I don't know why he loves his mom and wanted to kill him and had no problem killing Han Solo. Especially when he's killing his mom in such an indirect way, like missile striking her from like a mile away. And he literally laid his hands on his dad and horribly executed Han Solo. And I mean, it was implied that Han and Leia were together at the time. So for some reason, maybe Han Solo was just a dick in his childhood before he became a Jedi.
Well, no, the idea is he was trying to kill the good side of him, but it brought out more of the good side in him to kill his dad, but it's poorly executed.
Well, yeah, that's what Snoke says, but then, I don't know, I guess, sure. And then, yeah, so Episode 7 no longer has relevance to the Star Wars saga, so this movie essentially ruined Episode 7, which was Disney's only good Star Wars movie. Episode 7, yeah, it's a remake of A New Hope, essentially, but it has its new elements. And, it no longer has any relevance to the Star Wars saga, so thanks for that. Finn and Rose were, as alluded to earlier, completely pointless in this movie. Shouldn't have been in there. And Rose, fresh from BuzzFeed, acted kind of like she was from BuzzFeed. Her character was cringy. She was just like, I was a slave.
We have to save the space-time courses.
That whole thing was tossed in there, obviously because they needed to shoehorn an Asian character in there for the Chinese market.
Why did they pick an ugly Asian person?
I don't know. I don't care. I mean, why did they pick a bad actress for an Asian lady? I don't know. I'm sure you could have found a very attractive, or, you know, even someone on the same level as her that were 10 times better at acting. But she had BuzzFeed name recognitions. I guess. I don't know. There's probably some more famous Asian actors they could have found. find like some actor for like a Chinese stage actor or some shit, pull them into the mix. No, I didn't think she did a good job. Benicio del Toro was fucking annoying every time he was on screen. He pissed me off. He's like, I'm a homeless man with a hole in my sock. I'm gonna walk over here and pick through the door. Okay, so did you just sit in jail waiting for rebels to pick through the door? You had the lockpick the whole time. You were locked up before, or did you see the rebels go to jail? Said, I too will go to jail, end up in the same thing as them, and then get offered a bunch of money from the rebels when I break the rebels out? If I was him, I would have just broke out in the first damn place. I don't see why he waited. I don't see why his character was included in the movie. Because he did nothing. And then he turned on them. Captain Phasma came back, completely pointless. So, we'll call Finn and Rose's part very shitty.
Fucking worthless.
Fucking worthless.
It
fucking
literally has
shitty.
no bearing on the rest of the plot.
The entire part, and the only thing it served to introduce were the children. Oh, I'm a little orphan Annie. I'm gonna use my brain with my force powers. Oh my god, is that a cringy way to end the movie?
Fuck. Especially when the
cringed,
ship flies
dude.
through the sky and makes an arc, and it's like the Disney castle. And it's like,
he's like, it makes an arc like the Disney
Fuck.
castle. We can all
Really
use the
tacky.
force. And yeah, you know what happens when children become Jedi in Star Wars, little kid? You end up like Luke Skywalker or Anakin Skywalker. You don't want to get between those Skywalkers and their lightsabers if you're a child. If you're a child force user, stay the fuck away from anyone with Skywalker in the name because they're certified school shooters. Should be like Dylan and Eric Skywalker.
Anakin murdered kids, Luke tried to murder a kid.
Yeah, well, okay.
Murders everyone.
Ben sliced up the Jedi headquarters. Yes, he was a kid at the time, but
he
so
also
was
killed
Dylan and
kids.
Eric when they killed kids. So, still a school shooter. That actually means 3 generations of Skywalkers were either school shooters or attempted school shooters.
We don't know that Shmi didn't shoot up her school. We know that
Technically,
she got sold into sex
I
slavery
doubt
and got
Disney's
fucked
made
by
any
Tusken
lore.
Raiders. But
Yeah.
killed.
That was the first generation of Skywalker, really, because...
Yeah, because
Well, I guess she had a parent. She had parents.
Yeah.
I don't think she was masculinely conceived.
We don't know that.
I wonder who Luke's who Anakin's great-grandparent or grandparents are. Probably
Fucking
dead.
desert farmers. Dead desert farmers.
And Shami's just some random bitch that got impregnated by the Force.
Enslaved.
And it's
By
like,
a blue Jew.
anyway,
Wings.
Luke Skywalker, I don't mind the fact that he's a grumpy old master. What I do mind is that, first off, the plot, the cliffhanger from episode 7 was tossed in the trash for a shitty joke. Then he doesn't want to train her for the same reasons Yoda didn't want to train her, essentially. Him. And then he's like, you know what, whatever, I'll train you. Sure. What changed? That she learned the story of Kylo Ren and then tried to murder him? Now all of a sudden he wants to train her? And then Luke dies and it's like, oh, Luke Skywalker was like the only part of Star Wars I still liked.
What we do here is
So
go
he's
back,
gone.
back, 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 back.
It's not even really a Skywalker story anymore. I mean, there's Kylo Ren. He's not having any kids. With who? With who? Captain Phasma's corpse? Like, come on.
You know what would have been cooler?
It's Rey's story now, and Rey's apparently just a junk miner. This movie fucking
You
sucked.
can do the same story as The Last Jedi, but have Luke be dead the whole time. He's a Force ghost, but he doesn't have like the blue. He's not like a blue Force ghost. And then he does the thing at the end, and you saw the thing play out the same way, but then it reveals that he was a Force ghost the entire time. That's a much better reveal than he just used Naruto jutsu and then died.
How would he have died?
Because he used up all his energy as a Force ghost and became one with the Force.
What?
Because he did.
No, I'm saying how does he die in the first? Quit playing with your junk
How
every
does he
5
die?
seconds.
How does he die? Because
How did he die originally?
he left.
Ben
to find
Solo killed him. No,
Yeah.
but then that completely...
He died. No, he died.
The
when-
entire plot of The Force Awakens is to find Luke Skywalker. Which also brings up the fact that when
Yeah,
Luke
you have-
Skywalker tosses
you
back
have-
the lightsaber, Force Awakens
You have
is 100%
Kylo Ren
pointless.
collapses the building on him, but He assumes that Luke is still alive because Luke is still hanging around. But Luke's a Force ghost the entire time. He pretends not to be a Force ghost so that everyone doesn't go into a frenzy. And then he trains Rey so that she can be the next icon of the Jedi and pass on the Jedi legacy. And then once Kylo Ren defeats him, he reveals that he was a Force ghost and he says, I have found a successor to my Jedi legacy. Because then it doesn't make Luke look like a fucking murderous asshole. That's a way better thing to do than...
Also, I don't
Luke,
really
the
get
fucking
why they
child
added
killer.
that Luke was literally about to murder his nephew. He's like, I fucking had a feeling for a minute there that he might go to the dark side. So I pulled my lightsaber out and I was about to kill the son of a bitch. And then I changed my mind and then I got fucked and my whole Jedi temple got killed. Which meant Luke was essentially the greater of Kylo Ren because he was being a little douchebag. And then it revealed that not only is Rey's morals better than Luke, but she's more important than Luke, and everybody loves her, and that she's the ultimate Mary Sue and couldn't even be killed by a fucking anything. Nothing could have best Rey. Rey is the best Jedi. That's what we learned. Even though she does jack shit in this movie like every other character. And we're left with the depressing realization that the entire main cast of Star Wars, except for Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2, are completely dead, either fictionally or in real life. The characters we actually care about were killed by Disney because we really care about Finn and Rose. Poe Dameron is pretty cool. Poe Dameron's the only Star Wars character I genuinely like. No longer like Rey. Rey was cool in the first movie. Rian Johnson pretty much made sure that she was as stiff as Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones. I mean, what did she do in this movie? Really, what did she do except swing a lightsaber at some bricks and then lift some stones up with her force powers?
She did nothing.
She did nothing.
Oh, she killed some
She
red
fought
guys.
the red guys, and that was the best and the worst scene in the movie. The throne room was the best and the worst scene in the movie for the same reason that you might see in one of the prequel films being the best and the worst reason. It's the worst scene because Snoke dies, Rey's parents are revealed to be nothing, which means it's not even a Skywalker story anymore, which makes me question why it's even a numbered Star Wars movie, because it kind of defeats the purpose. And, and then only, that's all shitty and pretty much ruins the movie, but at least the lightsaber fight was cool. When you say the best scene in the movie is the best scene in the movie because the lightsaber fight is cool, you know the movie is fucking garbage. Just like when I say, yes, Avengers 2012, the 2012 Avengers movie, was a very shitty movie. But the end fight scene was really cool. I'm tired of saying these movies, based on beloved franchises that a lot of people care about, been watching Star Wars for my entire life. Maybe the movie's not good. Maybe the movie's a piece of shit. But at least there is one 35-second long lightsaber fight scene that is cool. Great movie, Disney. You did fantastic. I'm excited to see Rian Johnson's trilogy of Star Wars films. It's going to be fantastic. 3 Star Wars films. Oh wait, I forgot. The paid-off reviewers loved this movie. Everyone, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Baby Jesus blessed this movie. But all the fans fucking hate this movie because it's garbage. It has a lower Rotten Tomato audience score than The Phantom Menace, which is saying something. So, I guess in conclusion, this movie's absolute and complete fucking garbage. Disney's gonna fire Rian Johnson from the Star Wars trilogy because Disney's fire frenzy when it comes to Star Wars. Disney will fire anybody if there's even an amount of risk. Look at the fucking Lego movie brothers. They got fired.
Let's go back.
Guy who's gonna do episode 9 was fired. Everybody's getting fired out here. I don't think Rian Johnson's trilogy's happening. I think Disney spoke a minute too soon. I'm calling it. Maybe he'll do one of the trilogy and it'll be like he's producing the trilogy. I just wish J.J. Abrams did the whole trilogy. Because at worst, we would have mediocrity. But Rian Johnson just screwed the pooch. And maybe, I don't know if it was Ryan Johnson
It's 'cause they
per
didn't have a
se,
fucking
or it
plan.
was Disney.
I've been reading interviews and they literally didn't have a plan. They said, Ryan Johnson, do whatever you want. We don't have a plan.
No, that's what I was reading.
And Ryan Johnson just did whatever he wanted, and he did stupid shit, and now J.J. Abrams is gonna have to try to fucking
Pick
put
up
it
the
together
pieces.
from what the fuck Ryan Johnson did, which was
And I
ruin
would
everything.
say Disney said that Ryan Johnson ruined everything, and that's why JJ's coming back. That's what I would assume if they didn't announce that he's got his own Star Wars trilogy coming out. Oh man.
How are they gonna unkill Snoke?
What they should have done is just let JJ do the trilogy. JJ had a vision with 7, and Ryan Johnson said, I don't really want to do this. I read an interview right before the movie came out where Ryan Johnson basically said, you know, when episode 7 came out and I secured the job for episode 8, they basically said, okay, write the movie, and I would just bring up ideas with the story committee, and they would be like, well, that's not out of continuity. And he's like, all right, good enough, and he tossed it in the movie, and somehow Disney's like, okay. Basically, I'm guessing anything that had to do with R2-D2 got replaced with BB-8. Guessing any moment, you know, if there wasn't a quip packed in every 5 seconds, that needed to get added in. But that was like the studio interference I felt like Disney had. They just wanted quips in there. They didn't care if the story was fundamentally flawed. They didn't care if a third of their story made no sense. They wanted the Asian character. The Asian character was Disney. Rose was added in because of Disney. And once all those check marks were filled, Asian woman, quips every 5 seconds. The rest you can do whatever the fuck. Disney, I am confident that you will make very few good Star Wars movies from here on out.
Yep.
Episode 7 was good, but Episode 7 is now null and void because of this movie, which means Disney's 0 and 3. They went from 1 and 2 to 0 and 3, folks.
So anyway, we've talked for a while. Would you recommend this movie coming?
Well, no. The movie was really bad. It really sucked. I kind of hate movies. Kind of hate all the superhero movies. Kind of hate all these stupid Star Wars movies more than I hate the stupid superhero movies. What did you think? Or would you recommend this movie?
No. No, I wouldn't.
Alright. Here's a fun little game.
No, I wouldn't.
Here's a fun little bonus.
Fired it.
Rank the Star Wars movies. The Star Wars movies, 1 through 8, including Rogue One. Ewok specials and holiday special can get left out.
4, 5. 4, 5,
Let's go.
6,
Back.
1, 7, 3. Rogue One 8, 2.
Wow. Alright, I'll do my rank. 4, 5, 6 stays the same as my Star Wars ranking. Originally 7 was after this, but 7 moved down because it's now pointless. So I'm gonna put episode 1, episode 3. Episode 3 also moves over episode 7 because episode 7 is pointless. Then episode 7 because it's watchable even though it has no point anymore. And then episode 2 because it understands Star Wars to an extent higher than episode 8. And then episode 8. Actually wait, I forgot Rogue One. And then Rogue One. Rogue One's under episode 8 because Rogue One's absolute garbage. That was quite the turn on my ranking, but that's what I'm feeling right now. Rogue One is still... I watched Rogue One... I watched all the Star Wars movies leading up to watching episode 8. And watching Rogue... Well, actually, episode 8 is worse than Rogue One. Episode 8 is worse than Rogue One. Rogue One is a fucking horrible movie. I can't believe I'm saying this, but thinking back, I feel like I was too generous with Rogue One. It's really too generous. Because Rogue One, I'm getting flashbacks to approximately 365 days ago. seen in my entire life.
Rogue One is
I honestly would have preferred a sequel trilogy by
Let's go
George
back,
Lucas.